Good to see you back, dude.
Good to see you, dude. It's been a minute, huh?
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned. Maybe it was bittersweet our last interview because I enjoyed hanging out with you so much, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll never talk to this dude again. He's fucking riding off into the wind, gonna go work with daddy, make some loot, have kids. What are the chances of me ever talking to that guy again?" And look, here you are.
Here we are. Slim chances, the stars
Change
aligned.
change your name from Brandon Luckett to Random Luckett. I seriously cannot eh, believe that you're back at it again and that there's so much, hype around it too. It's kinda wild.
Yeah, I mean, the same person dragged me back into it,
Oh, I
to
can't wait.
competing.
I can't wait to hear.
Yeah.
Brandon, can we go back a little bit, just kinda do a crash course of your CrossFit journey, like how you found it?
Yeah. How far back you wanna go? All the way to the beginning?
Well, yeah, let's go to just how you found it. How old are you now?
29.
Yeah, and you look even younger than last time. You seemed so mature, and now I watch your videos and you look like a kid again.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, "What is this guy drinking from the fountain of youth?"
I got more more gray hairs than I had then, dude. Starting to get, like, grays in my chin and shit.
Yeah, so,
But,
how did CrossFit pop on your radar?
yeah, so, I mean, I wrestled in high school,
Mhm.
um and just like had no desire really to go wrestle in college or anything,
Okay.
and so I was just gonna stay home, get a degree in physics, and yeah, but there's like that, there's obviously always that like competitive side of you that never really dies. And my brother and his roommate were doing CrossFit in New Orleans, about like an hour away, and he started kind of introducing me to
What
some
year? Do you
CrossFit
remember the
workouts.
year?
2012 was when I
Okay,
graduated, maybe
okay.
2013, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there.
And what
Um,
weight did you wrestle, Brandon?
My senior year, I was 160 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah,
And how tall are you?
about 6 foot.
Dang.
Just about 6 foot, yeah.
So you were doing some serious weight cuts.
I was probably, like, more like 5'10" or 5'11" when I was a senior.
Okay.
And my last 2 years of high school, I didn't really cut weight very much, because the first 2 years, like, my freshman and sophomore year, I cut pretty extreme, and my sophomore year, I mean, I was, 5'10", 5'11" still, but 130 pounds. So
Okay, so did you have a small frame or did you just have a metabolism that was crazy?
I mean, you kinda just cut down. My natural weight probably would have been closer to 145, and so
Wow.
about 15-pound cut, and so that was a pretty tough year. I mean, it paid off because the season was good, but, I
Sorry,
was
sorry,
long and
sorry,
lanky.
sorry. 18th interruption. Seema, Cannons, is this the guy that pulled the girl up by her bra? Yes,
That's
correct.
me.
Damn, I wish Kayla was here. I'd love to pull that clip up. Damn. Yep, this is the guy. All right. No, no,
Yeah.
pulled her up, saved her life by her bra. There we go.
She's the same person who pulled me back into CrossFit, so, just returning the favor, I guess, you know? But, yeah, my brother was doing CrossFit, started kind of pulling me into some CrossFit workouts, and there was a gym that was 2 blocks from the house that I was living in, and so, like, the summer after I graduated, I started going to the gym with my brother while he was home from college and just kind of immediately fell in love with just, like, the grittiness of CrossFit. You go to the gym, it's like, barbells and plates and everybody's dropping stuff and running all around, and, immediately fell in love with just, like, the grit.
And that was 2012. And then when did you do your first competition?
Um, Probably that same year. I think I wanna say, like, we had a regionals team that year that I actually happened to hop onto back when it was, like, 3 men, 3 women. Um, like, I couldn't handstand walk 25 feet to save my life or whatever, but it was like, yeah, I think I went to regionals that first year I did CrossFit, maybe the second year. But yeah, I mean, I jumped into competing decently quickly, local competitions, you know?
And how did you know you were good? Like, what lifts were good? Were you like the guy, the first day they showed you muscle ups, you could do muscle ups and you could run and like were there some things you were like, "Okay, I can carry my weight here. I'm good at these."
Yeah, I mean, the first day I did do a muscle up, my brother just wanted to see if I could,
Mhm.
but I wasn't strong. I had 0 lifting background in wrestling. I mean, all I did was calisthenics, really. Like, I ran, I did push-ups and, skip rope and
But your
what
body
else?
weight to strength ratio was probably insane relative if you could do a muscle up on your first day, right?
I think it was just body awareness
Body
from
awareness.
wrestling.
Okay. Okay.
Strength, dude, I would not say that I was ever, like, a strong person for my body weight,
What did you
on my
bench?
body
Did
type.
you did you know what did you bench in high school?
Dude, I couldn't even tell you, maybe 135 pounds,
Okay, okay,
maybe. I remember we did cleans, like squat cleans when I was a senior, like during the summer going into like our last year, we were doing squat cleans for strength and conditioning, and I think I could barely squat clean like 165.
okay, okay,
So yeah, like as a strong, like I've never been like a very strong athlete, not but I think wrestling definitely taught me like body awareness and how to move my body through space,
okay.
and to move it quickly. So
And then so you right away, you get into the competitive aspect of it.
yeah, it's pretty quick. And I started CrossFit like just kind of stay in shape, but like you get thrown into the competitive environment just within your class pretty quickly. And so like I guess that's just the competitive nature of athletes just like dives right into it like head first.
And were you living back at home at the time after
Yeah.
college after, high school?
Yeah, I lived with my parents for 4 years while I went to undergrad.
Okay.
So I stayed at home.
So you get out of high school, and it was out of high school that you started doing CrossFit?
Yes, sir.
So you get out of high school, still living at home, you have a parallel, you're staying fit, you're dabbling in competitive CrossFit, and you're also going to college, and you're trying to get a degree in physics.
Yes, sir.
I thought for some reason I thought you were an engineering major. No?
No, sir.
No,
Got a
okay.
bachelor's in physics.
Okay. And then is that hard? It sounds hard.
It was pretty tough. I mean, I think it's like denoted as like the second hardest major at Louisiana State University, LSU, because they're
Math the hardest?
chemical engineering
Okay, chemical
or
engineering.
biochemical engineering.
Okay.
I mean, we started with like 50 something students, and I graduated with 7 individuals. One of them went on to Berkeley and got his PhD at Berkeley.
Okay,
Um,
and what do they look like? What's the makeup of that? It's just you and all black dudes, or you and all Asian dudes, or you and all Jews? Like, what's that look like?
no, I mean, it was. I mean, we were all kind of just nerds, dude. I mean, I was certainly like the largest human in class.
Okay.
Uh, but I mean, they were my best friends too. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 of us that just kind of gutted it out. We graduated with a couple of people that took like 5 years to get the degree or whatever. So I
Any
didn't know
girls?
them as well.
Do girls take physics, or is it
Yeah,
dominated by boys? There's girls in
yeah.
there too.
I'd say it's probably like 4 dudes, three girls that graduated in our class, and I still keep up with a few of them. One of them, the one who went to Berkeley, him and his younger brother, who was also a wrestler, they ended up they started at the same CrossFit gym that I went to during undergrad. So,
Hey, do you know if any of those did you play a musical instrument?
no,
No, do you know if any of if that guy who got his PhD played a musical instrument?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I ask because, obviously wrestling is just hard as shit. It's just hard,
Yeah.
and, physics is just hard, and usually those people will have some parent that, like, they'll be, like, violin players and shit, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the
So,
slouches will be playing the trombone and the piano, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
that's just what they do. Those people do hard shit.
Yeah. Simon's parents, I think his father was a professor, but like, you almost wanna say that, like, Simon, the kid who went to Berkeley, he was, like, one of my best buddies in undergrad, and he's also the one who did CrossFit, and his little brother did CrossFit, but you almost wanna say, like, he's just gifted, but the kid worked harder than I've ever watched someone like, work. Like, the way he studied, he had, like, a very specific process and just, like, grinded through school, and I just stuck by his side and just did what he did and ended up getting, a degree in physics, which honestly was only because I surrounded myself with those guys and worked really hard for it.
When did you decide you were gonna do physics? What grade in high school were you?
I'd already graduated.
Oh,
It was like
so
that
was it?
summer. Yeah.
Wow.
So, like, I mean, my father's a physicist. He's a consultant physicist, and I remember the conversation just, like, sitting outside of his office, not really knowing if my mom's a physician, my brother was going to school to go to med school. I just wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, and, my dad owned the company, and he really enjoyed the work that he did and the flexibility that he had, and, you know, I remember the day that I decided I was gonna, we like laid out the plan, like go get a degree in physics, go get a master's in medical physics, go to a CAMPEP accredited residency, get board certified, start working. Like 8 years and you start working. So we set out the plan like that day and figured it out.
And when did you decide you were gonna, try to get on the wrestling team in high school?
So I started wrestling whenever I was in 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
So I was pretty young when I started wrestling.
Like at a community program?
It was at the high school. that I went to. They had like a youth program that
Mhm.
was like during the youth season. And so I did that for 4 years, then went to the same high school and wrestled for 4 more years.
And did you wrestle straight from 5th grade all the way to your senior year,
Yes,
every
sir.
year?
Yes, sir.
Holy shit, wow. Did you ever get into jiu-jitsu?
Uh, in 2022, whenever I moved back home and I
Mhm.
was like, retired, I wasn't doing CrossFit anymore. I did do jujitsu for a little while. I loved it. I was broken all the time, like my spine, my neck, my fingers, my toes, like everything was always beat up. And I truly loved it. But as soon as I started competing again in 23, I kind of pulled back on that.
Did they start you did you have to start at a white belt? I know a lot of,
Mhm. Yeah.
wow, okay, because I think a lot of competitions, if you have a strong wrestling background, they won't let you compete at a white belt.
Yeah. I don't know what would have, I never competed.
Okay,
The community that I was going like, that I was training at, they wanted me to compete pretty bad, so I don't know what would have happened, but, like, I stayed at a white belt, I had 0 stripes, because I mean, I probably wrestled or probably did jujitsu for maybe 3 or 4 months and then kind of hopped back into competing in late 22 to
okay.
do the 23 season.
Okay. Thanks for being patient with me as we go fly around the timeline and subjects.
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduate in 4 years, pretty impressive. So then, through that entire 4 years, do you do at least between graduating from high school and starting CrossFit around what'd you say around 2012?
Mhm. Yeah, 2012, 2013.
So that 10-year journey of CrossFit, do you compete every year at least somewhere, at least in some local comp, at least
Yeah.
something?
Yes, sir. I went to, regionals as a team member, I think 3 times, 2 or 3 times. There was one gap in there because one of our team members qualified for individual, so she pulled that, she accepted that invite and went individual, so I didn't compete at regionals that year. So I guess, from 2013 to 2017, I competed at regionals every year except for one. 2017 was my first individual, regionals back in the day when they had regionals. 2018 was my second individual and the first time I qualified, for the CrossFit Games.
Oh, you did qualify in 2018.
Yes, sir.
Did you go?
I did.
And how did you do?
Terrible.
What
I
place
mean, I
did you
say terrible. I mean, I was like 36th or I think. I think I was 36 or 30, yeah,
out of 40?
out of 40.
Were you surprised you qualified in 2018, or did you set an expectation, or
Um, I I I don't know if I've ever expected, even, like, still, like, never in my career, like, in any of my career have I expected to win. I think I've always believed that I was capable, but, to expect to win and to believe that you're capable are 2 different mindsets, I believe.
I'm gonna try to put up this, we'll get into that in a second. I'm pulling up the games, leaderboard in 2018. So in 2018, Fraser won, Vellner took 2nd, Lucas Hoberg took 3rd, Brent took 4th, BKG took 5th, Noah Olson took 6th, Cole Sager 7th. Oh, Rasmus, wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Ben Smith took 12th, James Newberry took 18th, Saxon took 19th. Alex Smith, I didn't know Alex Smith ever went to the games either. Josh Bridges took 31st that year. Brandon Luckett, you're between Jared Enderton and Marquand Jones. I didn't know Marquand ever made it to the games either.
Mhm.
Jeez, my games knowledge is rusty. And Roman took last because he didn't get to come.
Yeah, at least I beat him.
Yeah, and you beat Alexander Caron.
Who withdrew with an injury, so it really is out of 38 people.
uh, uh, and when you took that 36th, how did you feel? Were you just excited to be there? Were you pissed
No.
or
It's So, I mean, I was, like, 23 at the time, and, like, all I ever wanted to do was qualify for the games. I was like, "Dude, I don't care if I come in dead last whenever I qualify, like, I just wanna qualify." And then, like, you get there and, like, the competitive aspect of all of us, like, we compare ourselves to the field that we're competing with,
right?
right? And so, like, to be at the bottom of the leaderboard is a really tough pill to swallow for anybody, regardless of, like, what you initially kind of had your visions of or, like, your thoughts of about the games. And so, like, I remember that being a really, like, I struggled with it mentally really bad. Um, and it was at, like, a kind of a tough time with graduate school as well. And so I came home from the CrossFit Games and took a board exam to start my path on board certification for physics and failed it. So I was like, dude, I just went to the CrossFit Games, came at the very bottom of the pack, then came home and failed a board exam. I was like, dude, what am I doing? And so I struggle with that. I think that's part of the reason why I took the year off. Because I felt like I was not doing well at either of the things that I was doing, and needed to kind of just narrow in focus on things because I was struggling pretty bad mentally.
So even though you made it, you were top 40 fittest men walking the planet, um, and I'm looking and you qualified through the South Regional, Sean Sweeney, Gamboa, Brandon Luckett in third, Logan Collins in fourth. You you felt like you weren't doing anything epic. You weren't doing anything at the top. You were like, you finished 36th at the games or 38th at the games, 36th at the games, and then you didn't pass your test. And so you were like, hey, I'm doing two things and my time and efforts are getting divided.
Yeah.
Was it really like that? Like that simple? Like just kind of like that cliche line, okay, I'm doing just everything at the great level and not at the best level?
You compare yourself to the field, right?
Right.
And so it's very hard. And like looking back now, it's like, dude, like that was amazing. Like you accomplished your goal to
Mhm.
go to the CrossFit Games. You were a rookie. You knew nothing. You had no experience. Um, and like you went and competed. Like you did the best that you did and the best that you could with like the cards that you had. Like maybe you could have played them better, but you didn't. Or maybe you couldn't have played them better. Maybe you played them as best you could, but like you're still like you accomplished that goal and you did like you were in the top 40 in the world for that year. But like again, like you compare yourself to the field. And so I legitimately struggled with it and I didn't enjoy my time there. I remember being kind of like just very upset and which sucks because I didn't enjoy my experience there. And I was like, I gotta come back and I have to I have to prove that I can do better than this. And then the next year I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I
You
didn't
you saved all your money as a little kid to go to Disneyland, you got there and you didn't enjoy it. The lines were too long, it was too
yeah.
crowded, parking sucked. You're like, "This sucks."
Yeah, so it's a super shitty thing mentally on my part to have that mindset,
Mhm.
and it's a shitty thing to feel as well, and the next time I went as an individual in 2021, I was like, "Dude, enjoy every moment because you may never be back here on this floor." Um,
That's your mindset this year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and 2021 was the last time I went as an individual as well, and so, like, I remember
Oh,
2021, I was like, "Dude, just enjoy being here and take it all in, and stop worrying about, like, where you fall, and just, like, have some gratitude for the opportunity." Because
y
that first year, dude, I didn't have the gratitude for what I got to do, and I think that was a big, misstep on my part.
so you went to the games in 2021 also?
Yes, sir.
Oh, and you did better, you got 27th.
Yes, sir.
In 2016, did you go to the regionals or the semifinals or whatever they had then as a team?
As a team, yes.
And were you the team captain?
I don't know. I don't remember who our team captain was,
Did
but
you f by
I
the
was the
time
youngest guy on the team, so probably not.
okay. And, why did you decide to go from team to individual?
Um, a couple of things. Oh, the goal was always to, qualify as an individual. I think that was, like, the lofty goal, like, maybe I could do it one day. And so in 2017, our gym had 4 males who were very competitive, one of them being my brother. It was my brother and a couple other guys who were close friends, and then myself, and then we had 3 pretty good girls, and, like, we knew we could qualify a team, but obviously only 3 men and 3 women can go on a team. Um, and I don't think our team would have ever been in, like, the top running for, like, a top 5 spot or, like, a qualifying position. And so, like, that year was the first year that I qualified for individuals in regionals in the South Central. And so the thing is, if I'd accepted my individual opportunity, like my individual invitation, the team still would have gone with the other 3 guys and the 3 ladies. But if I went on the team, it would have been like a better team, quote unquote. It would have been because my scores would have been better or whatever, but it's, you know, they wanted me to go team so that they could have, you know, whatever. But the third person would have been my brother. And so if I did not accept my individual invitation, my brother would have never gotten to go on that team and
Was
compete.
that his first year going team?
It was it's his first and only year he ever competed at regionals. So if I had accepted that, if I'd gone team, he wouldn't have competed. Um, and if I didn't, he would have gotten to compete. And so there was, I mean, I also wanted to compete as an individual because I wanted to kind of see like what I could do. But there's also that other side of it is like if I go team, then he doesn't get to compete this year.
Did you enjoy the journey in 2017? Were you devastated when you didn't make it
No,
to
it's
games?
I didn't expect to like I didn't expect to qualify for regionals. I didn't expect to place as high as I did. I think I placed 7th and they took 5 and it was my first year. Um and so like dude, that was an awesome year. I was super
Okay.
stoked.
Okay.
Super stoked.
Jake Chapman, Sevi looks like an office employee at Jurassic Park. I was gonna get a haircut instead. I decided to put a hat on.
I think you look great.
Thank you. I think I
welcome.
look great too. Thank you. And there's no one can tell me different.
Yeah.
So then, okay. So when I talked to you last, I basically what I remember is this is your last year, and you're gonna still do CrossFit, but you're just gonna do it for fun. So
Yeah.
that must have been in 2022. Did you go to the games?
No, sir. Oh,
Did you?
I was a coach for a master's athlete, so I was there, but I didn't compete.
Okay, so I must have talked to you around 2021.
Yep, 2021 was the last year I went.
And then so over okay, I think I do remember that. And then I remember you saying you were gonna coach for a master's athlete, or you were at the time. And then what happened? What was that like, decompressing from trying to be the elite of the elite in terms of fitness, and then kind of decompressing and just going into coach mode as you went into 2022? Did you enjoy that? Was that comfortable for you?
So I say I was a coach, like I had the coach's pass. I wasn't the individual's like actual coach. You know, I didn't tell him how to train or anything. But he just needed a buddy to be there behind the scenes with him, and I accepted that and you know went there with him.
So he made
Um
it to the games,
yes, yeah.
and so you went there. And how was that experience, just being
It
there?
was cool. It was cool. It's weird seeing, you know, everybody you've competed with and like some people that like, you know, you had competed with, they're also doing the coach thing. And so like it's kind of fun just to catch up with everybody and be back there. At the same time, it's also like reminiscent. It makes you want to go back and
Mhm.
compete. You know, like every time you watch a competition, you're like, man, I miss kind of finding out like what I'm capable of or like, wanting to be there. And so there's both sides of it.
Jeremy World, I'm late. Is this the guy John Young said is washed up? I just remember him for a while saying, when we asked him how fit he was, he said he's about as fit as Brandon Luckett.
Yeah. Um,
God, John's wonderful. One more, hold on. Shout out to Brandon for being 9th in the Open this year when John Young was 13,000. Come on, guys. John's my boy.
I'm sending him one of these shirts. I asked his permission before we ever made the shirts. Actually, I was like, "Hey, man, like I'm not doing this unless you're cool with it. It's a fun joke." Like,
Yeah, he's such a good sport.
yeah,
What's funny is I saw this and I thought this was photoshopped. I didn't even realize that this was. I thought this. So this is a real shirt.
I'm wearing it right now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Hey, he's probably flattered that someone heard his voice from wherever fucking in the middle of the country he lives.
yeah, it's a
John
good
Young,
shirt.
what's your address? I'll send you a shirt. Yeah, that's awesome. Did he really say that too? That you're washed up?
I mean, in effect, really, the first thing he had said was like after all the Dubai stuff, and said like, I think what he had said was, I know Brandon went to the CrossFit Games in 2018, but he's like barely any fitter than I am or something.
Yeah.
Um, and so in essence, washed up, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Coffee Pods and Wad shirt ordered to Ireland. Good luck shipping it.
Hey, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, Peter.
Get it to the island. Okay, so you go as a coach for Masters, and
Yeah.
then that season ends. That was 2022, and then tell me what you did in 2023.
Yeah, so Alexis Johnson, great friend of mine. So, like as I said, in 2019, I didn't compete. I came home, failed my boards, decided, I'm gonna focus on school, try to get into residency. So I didn't compete. Get into residency, moved to Oklahoma. She pulls me out of retirement to compete team. Um,
This is 2023.
this is 2000. No, this is 2020 that we're
Okay,
talking
okay,
about.
okay.
We qualified for the games, but COVID happened. So then I'd qualified through the Open, so I competed as an individual in 2020. 2022, I decided to quit competing again to focus on work. And
And work was the
again,
business with your dad, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And she texts me. It's like, hey, this is going to be my last year. We never got to compete together at the games in 2020. Will you do team with me this year? So I was like, yeah, like we can make it happen, but I'm not changing the way I train. I'm not gonna train like a games athlete. I'm just like, work's my focus. I'm not.
Okay, I remember you sharing that with me, yep.
Yeah, so I mean, the same thing that in 2020 happened in 2022, um, or 23 rather. And so yeah, we put together a team. We qualified out of the West and went and competed at the games. And I got to pull her up by her bra strap.
Um, I wonder if she knows how hot she is.
Yeah, she will now. Now that you've
Told her?
yeah,
Like, I always like, I wonder, and she's a dork?
she is. She's worse than I am.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
She's got a math PhD.
And you're tied to her right here?
Yes, my sweater's tied around her waist and mine.
Are you married?
I am.
Wife better have a talk with Alexis.
I know.
My goodness.
My wife and Alexis are very good friends, actually.
And, so, it's the glasses. No, it's not I mean, the glasses are cool, but I wear glasses and they don't make me hot. The glasses are
Don't
the
say that
dork
about
part.
yourself.
Alright, thank you. It's okay. I enjoy not being hot. It's my superpower. Okay, and so you go, that was so you go back, so you end up going do you end up going to the games in 2020 as a team?
No, because they didn't do teams for COVID.
Right, okay, right,
So I
right,
did
right. Sorry, you said that. Okay.
the online games for the top 20 out of the Open and then, like, the sanctional qualifiers.
Okay, I know
So there's
you said that, but I
only,
was
like
ogling, Alexis, sorry.
yeah, I think it was, like, 30
And
people or something.
then, so then, 2000 so then you go to, uh, do the masters,
Mhm,
fake coaching, and then you take a year off, and tell me
mhm.
about that year off,
Uh,
please.
what about it? Like,
What did you do? Like, what did you work out? Did you start decompressing? Did you put on 5 or 10 pounds? Did you watch all
no,
your
dude. I
weight?
started the EMOM company in, like, late 21, early 22, um, and just 'cause, dude, I love training. I love working out. I love, like, grindy workouts. I love being fit and lean. Um, and so, like, even whenever I was, working a ton and not competing, like, I still love exercising. And so I was just doing, like, 30-minute EMOMs once or twice a day in my garage, and I was actually, like, lighter and leaner than I ever was whenever I competed. I was probably, like, about 13 pounds lighter than I am now. Um, and just doing basically just doing CrossFit in my garage for the most part.
This
Um,
is a hell of a following.
yeah, it exploded out of nowhere in the beginning of the year from like one video.
Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't realize that this is a huge following.
Yeah.
Okay, so you come back from the games and you start the EMOM company.
Yes, sir. It just started with like 30-minute EMOMs because that's just what I was doing. It was like, okay, I got an hour to get in the gym after work. I want to do something that's like, pretty mindless but gritty. And so I would throw together a few different movements into a 10-round piece of, basically a 30-minute EMOM, and they were super effective for me.
Are they all every minute on the minute
Not
workouts?
anymore.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Okay.
how we started, but they're definitely not that anymore. Um, I still try to throw in a 30-minute EMOM once a week at a minimum, or like an every 5 or an every 6. So but yeah, I mean, our foundation was the 30-minute EMOM.
And, what do you do for 2023, the games rolls around, and what do you do with yourself? Where are you? Did you go to the games?
Yeah, we went on a team. Yeah.
Oh, in 2023 you did.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Explain that to me. Sorry, go back.
That was when Alexis pulled me out, for her last year of competing. So,
Okay, okay, I'm getting my
that
timeline
was
all
the
mixed
year I
up.
pulled her up
Okay.
by the bra strap. That was 2023.
And how did you do at the games?
We were 11th, I believe.
And did you stay true to just like, "Hey, I'm not doing any crazy training. I'm just chilling," or was that just bullshit? You just told yourself that to get past the pressure?
I ramped it up a little bit, as you would expect. But I wouldn't say that I definitely didn't train then like I'm training right now.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You go to the games, in 2023 as a team with Alexis, and, do you think that that's it? Like, when you're at the games and Sunday rolls around, are you like, "Okay, I'm done?"
There was a big question mark at the end of the weekend.
Oh, there was.
There was.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, I felt it and I knew it. I didn't know what, like, the next year was gonna be, but there was, like, a big question mark in my mind.
So you weren't like, "Hey, I'm going back as teams, again now," or, "I'm going back as individual." It's just like, "Ooh, I you enjoyed that," or the
Yeah,
fire was lit.
yeah, yeah, and
And
training was very different that year, and I felt really good physically and mentally, and so, yeah, there was a big question mark after that.
when the 2023 season was over, you know that Rogue's right around the corner. Did you try to go to Rogue?
No, sir.
And why didn't you try that?
I don't I don't do a lot of out of season competitions just because, you know, I work a lot, and so I mean, just preparing for semifinals or the games is a lot of times, like, put into that, and it takes quite a bit of focus off of all of the other focuses of life, of work and family and things like that, and so to do out of season competitions has never been kind of viable for me.
And when you went back in 23, what did your dad say? Who was, your business associate? Was he cool with it, or was he like, "Hey, dude"?
Yeah, as long as it's always been like as long as I've gotten, my my duties, my responsibilities accomplished, it's okay. And like it's kind of like free reign. Especially now that I've been working for him for 3 years. Um, there's a little bit more trust in there, but it's always been like as long as everything's taken care of, you can do, you have the freedom to do what you like, which is why I get to compete at all. I think it'd be much harder if my schedule wasn't quite as flexible. Um, where I can, I mean, I'll work Saturday and Sunday so that I can train Thursday and Friday if I have to.
W Do
But
you
yeah,
make that decision with someone else? Is your wife involved in the decision?
of competing or working.
Yeah, of competing.
Yeah, we talked about it a good bit before the season. Because at first I'd actually contemplated doing team again. Kind of tried to put a team together. It fell through, and so I was
This is for
actually
2020 this
for this
season.
year. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was really afraid of competing as an individual this year. Um, and fear almost stopped me from seeing if I could do it.
There is a that is a theme. That's interesting you say that. Oh, could you define fear for me? There is that theme in your posts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
would you define fear for me?
fear of embarrassment, fear of failure, fear of putting in the time and not achieving the goal.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I was very afraid of saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna go try to qualify for the games," and then falling short because it had been so long since I like attempted this and tried, and like everyone's gotten so good. And so I was it was almost like crippling fear for a little bit.
No shit.
Yeah.
Um, this is the line that hit me. I think I'm tired of being afraid. Let me rephrase that. I'm tired of letting fear stop me. Um, that's a
Yeah.
great line. So it's almost like
The
it's
fear
not
is
like
there
you
still,
overcame. It's
but
not like you overcame it with. You just got tired. You were having this one feeling over and over and over. It's
yeah.
kind of like if you wake up in the morning and you know you have to go outside and like mow the lawn.
Yeah.
And finally at 3 o'clock, you're just tired of just like fuck thinking about it. So that's what pushes you to do it instead of it needing to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I mean, the fear is still there, but it's like, am I gonna let that just keep me in like in the corner and not answer the question of like, can I do it? Am I capable? Like, let me go find out, even though I'm deathly afraid. Like, let me see what I can do.
And I guess it's kind of a win-win, right? Because no matter how you do, um, the question will be answered and it'll go away.
Yeah.
So whether you make it to the games or not, it's like, fuck, I'll be able to get this off my plate.
On Wednesday I go back to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
it
awesome.
doesn't matter.
Good job. And then if you wouldn't have made this journey, you might carry the question like until you get fucking Alzheimer's.
Yeah. I mean, I had to answer a few questions to myself to kind of make the final decision to compete this year. One of those being like, why do you even do this, right? Like, do you do this because you qualify for the games, or like because it feels good to like stand on a podium, or because like you care what other people think about like your success or failure? Or do you do this because you truly love like the 360 days that it takes to achieve this one thing? And the answer was like, well, I just fucking love the journey. I love the grind. I love the discipline. I love like all the things that go along with it. And in fact, like every time I've qualified, I really wasn't like that excited, right? Like you qualify and it's like, okay, it's done. Like now I have to prepare for the games. And like once the games is done, it's like, okay, like I did that. Now it's time to like look forward to like what's the next thing. And so like I realized that it's not the result at all that matters. It's really just everything I've done in preparation for it and all of the work that gets done all year. And so like once I was able to kind of reason myself with that, it's like, okay, well then like it doesn't really matter if you qualify for the games or not. Like you love the work and you love the journey to get there. And the result is just a flash in the pan.
And that comports with what you said earlier in regards to the 2018 games. Uh, had a shitty time, down on yourself, and now it's 2024, and that's changed into that pile of shit's turned into like, oh, that's cool, I did that.
Yeah.
And like there's no, it's like it's almost the only embarrassment is the fact that you ever thought it wasn't cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I fucking love that. And that all makes sense. Um, so 2023, you you come back and you're going to do it. You're thinking, okay, I'm going to put together a team, and then walk me through when it decides like you're going to become an individual and what was it after the open?
This year.
Yeah.
So uh I had started reaching out to a few people to do a team this year, and I wanted to have a team that would like could really make a run for a podium at the games. Um, and so the first person that I really reached out to was Allie Wise.
Mm.
Um,
That's the Invictus girl.
it's the younger sister, and so she's
Did she
with
go to? Was she on the winning team last year?
no, it's her
No.
younger sister.
Okay. Okay.
Allie Wise is the younger sister,
Okay.
and she knew Kyra Milligan. Both of them were underdogs.
Okay.
And we're going to be training out of the same gym in Las Vegas. Kyra Milligan
Is that
and
what you
Allie
are?
Wise.
You're an underdogs. Are you an underdogs athlete now?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, Imam company athlete, I
Did you get a
guess.
call from Kotler and he's like, "Hey, don't call my bitches." The fuck?
No, no.
No. Okay.
I had a call with Kiefer and Kotler about the
Mhm.
team, and like, kind of like the vision for it, and got to talk to Kyra as well. And so since Allie Wise was moving to Vegas to go train with the whole camp over there, they would be in the same gym. It kind of was like a perfect setup to have two athletes in the same area who could train together. So the only thing we needed to find was like another male. And it was actually very challenging because it seemed like every male wanted to compete as an individual this year. But we got John Wood to say, like, I'd be willing to explore the opportunity to compete as a team. And
What about
John Wood,
Travis Mayer? Was he ever a consideration?
never thought about Travis
Okay.
Mayer. And I think maybe travel would have been difficult because he's got a full family.
Right, a full family.
Yeah,
2 families maybe for all we know. Yeah,
yeah.
alright.
And so, but John Wood had agreed to it. He came out to, like, we all flew out to Vegas. We trained for a little while. Um, and then he basically told us, like, "Hey, I want to compete in Wadapalooza. I want to see how I do. If I do really well, then I might end up going individual. Because, like, my ultimate goal was to be an individual athlete at the CrossFit Games." I was like, kind of the whole time, I was like, dude, to the whole team, I said, like, I want you guys to all do what you want to do, because if your heart is set on individual,
Mm.
but you agree to do team because you feel obligated or you owe us something, like, that's not really fair to you. And it's not fair to the team, because you're always going to have, like, this question in the back of your mind of, like, whether or not you should be doing this. So it has to be a full commitment and a full desire on your part. And Kyra and John Wood were definitely on the fence of competing individually or competing on a team, because they're both insane athletes. And after Wadapalooza, John Wood ended up buying an affiliate, and it's like, hey, I got an affiliate. I can't travel that much. I'm going to be running a gym, so I'm out of team. I was like, all right, like, we're not going to. I'll talk to Kyra and Allie, and I said, at this point, we're not going to scramble to find another guy. Allie was dealing with some back issues, and so she was going to take a little bit of time off. Kyra Milligan was almost had her question answered of whether or not she should compete as an individual on her team. So she's like, all right, I'm going individual. So then I was left with the question of, do I compete or not? And that's where I, like, wrestled with the questions in my head of
Were
whether
you
I wanted to
fully
do it
in
or
it
not.
for a team then? Like, had you pushed individual
Yeah.
completely away?
Yeah, because I was so afraid of competing as an individual, but team is way less stressful for me. Because with a good team, it's like you can go be very competitive and have a good bit of confidence, and it's not nearly as nerve-wracking or anxiety provoking for me. And I
Yeah.
truly enjoyed competing on a team the previous year. Um, and so, yeah, the only question that was now in my head was, should I do individual or should I just be done?
Did you ever, consider asking John Young?
I didn't know John Young at the time, otherwise I
Uh,
totally would've.
awesome. Good answer. Great answer. And, what month was this that that, the team dissolved?
The week after Wadapalooza. I think Wadapalooza's in January, was it not?
Okay, and then how long, did it take you to process that, "Okay, I'm gonna go individual"?
It was a it took a while. Um, it took probably a month or 2, maybe, maybe
Had the
not quite
Open
2 months.
started? Had the Open started?
No.
Okay.
The Open hadn't started yet. It's maybe a month before the Open, and, but I settled on the answer of, like, I will take it one step at a time,
Mm,
and if I continue to enjoy what I'm doing, and, like, the anxiety and the fear isn't crippling, and it's not like, it's not affecting my day to day or, like, my mental headspace, then
mhm.
I'll continue, to the next stage. And so, like, the Open came, really enjoyed competing in the Open, and ended up doing, like, way better than I expected at all. And so I was like, "Oh, okay, like, maybe I can do this. I'm enjoying it. Like, we'll take the next stage. We'll do quarterfinals." Quarterfinals went really well. Enjoyed it. A little bit more anxiety provoking and a little bit more nerves there. But nonetheless, like, enjoyed that process. And so I was like, okay, like, the next step is semis, and it's either semis or bust. Because, like, once you're there, like, you either qualify for the games or you don't. It's pretty black and white. And so my season will either continue or end in May, and I'm excited about that.
I wanna talk to you about the workouts, in 1 second. And these are all good signs, right? It says, this is, when was this? This is, 2 months ago. Last time I had a clean PR was 2020. I honestly figured I would never touch 360 again, so I skipped it and went to, 365. Are you alone in the gym here?
No, this was at Underdogs, or the Underdogs camp in Vegas. Kyra's like right to my right. Kiefer's over there by her. Justin Kotler's probably on the other side of the frame. So they have a great crew over there, and so it's definitely like a full gym.
And do you know you're going individual at this point right here?
I was still that's basically when I decided. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna see if I can do this, or like I'll take it one stage at a time, and as long as I'm enjoying the process, then I'll continue. I'll continue the journey, and like keep chasing the dream.
And do you still go there and train?
I'll be going there on Tuesday. So I've been there. I went for the first week of the Open. Was there for about a week. Quarterfinals was like a pretty quick turnaround, so I hadn't been there in a minute. But I love going over there to be with Kiefer and Kyra. They're awesome, and so like I just love going to train with them. And it's good to get away from what I do because I tried to work all day and train all day. So my day will kind of start at like 5 or 5:30 a.m. and I'll work until 7 or 7:30 p.m. and that includes training for CrossFit. And I try to shut it down at like 7:30. But whenever I'm around them, like the whole day is kind of centered around training. And so, you wake up and you go into the garage and you work out, then you have breakfast, and then you go to the gym, and then you train, and then you come home and you eat dinner and you go to sleep. And so it's cool to kind of get away from like my regular day to day of like trying to do as many things as I can in 24 hours.
And that's okay that you're an EMOM athlete and that you go over there and train with the Underdogs. There's no like weird. It's weird. It's welcoming.
From Underdogs perspective, like yeah, they're super welcoming. From the EMOM company's perspective, I don't think they can say anything
Because it's your company?
because it's just me. Well, it's not just me. My brother-in-law's in it with me. I have a couple of people like who really help me out with programming and marketing and coming up with ideas. So we got a team about 4 or 5 now. Um, but like, and from the competing side of it is like, I don't think anyone's gonna get upset with me going to train with Underdogs.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are there people there from other training programs also?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
not
and
sure.
and 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 you like the environment there.
I love it.
And so it's basically their intensives when you go there. Focused intensives.
It's very focused, and it's a super supportive community, and it's just cool to be around that where like everybody's like just like throwing down competitively. And I think a big part of it is that the fact that like I get away from like my work.
I have not, perused your, EMOM site. I definitely noticed you've been around since 2012, but when I look at the programming for the Open and the quarterfinals and the semifinals, I see my first just gut feeling is, "Oh, this is the best programming I've ever seen." And probably the reason why I like it is it looks like the most CrossFit programming I've ever seen. Like, it looks like what we learn in
Yeah.
in the L1 back in 2006.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of beautiful couplets and triplets.
I love that.
Yeah. Do you it's, are you loving it too? What did you think about the programming for Open and quarterfinals, and now you look at semifinals? I mean, it's just I don't know, it just looks so it feels like we're back home or something.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it is like we're kind of back home. I feel like for I don't love the aspect of like always trying to one up the year before in terms of like I don't believe that complexity lends itself to beauty. I think beauty is in like the simplicity of the movements and like the style of like the programming. And so whenever you try to like make things complex and add like all these little tidbits and all these little rules to the workout itself, it just like complicates it and distorts it. And so like to bring it back to like these grassroots of simplicity and like you actually realize that like when it's simple is when you find out like okay, like dude there's so much beauty in how simple these things are and how effective like the stimulus and like the build like the all of it is. And so like, dude, I freaking love it.
Did you get any penalties, for your, quarterfinal workouts?
Yeah, I got one.
You did get one.
On my event too, I got a 1-second penalty. I wouldn't say it was a penalty, it was a score adjustment. They said my feet touched at, 16:01 instead of
Uh-huh.
16:00.
Okay. You know, it's interesting you sound like Greg when you say all that stuff about the, simplicity and the beauty of it, and when I talked to Greg recently, the other night, it came up about the step-ups. And I was
Yeah,
telling him that, that there was some question about both legs being fully extended, and his response was, "That's ridiculous." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because it's about work capacity across broad time and modal domains, and you stand up on the box, and if your center of mass is as high as it can go, it doesn't matter whether you're on one leg or two leg." And that's when he said, "Hey, that's like saying if someone did a 500-pound back squat and they only had one leg, it doesn't count." And he's
yeah,
like, "It's fucking completely ridiculous." And it kind of fits along that line. Like, hey, don't, especially in the competition setting, don't worry about what the other leg is doing. If that center of mass
yeah,
is at its highest point and it doesn't matter what the other leg is doing, you're good.
yeah,
And it was, I remember the burpee first being explained to me like that in 2006. The reason why it's the best calisthenic is because you lower your body mass to the lowest point it can go. And then at the top of the movement, it's as high as it can go. And everything in between is like up to you.
yep.
And,
I
and,
love
and
burpees.
Yeah, and that's the simplicity, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
And that's what that's what the EMOM company is. The EMOM company, just from that quick just look I looked, clean and simple.
yes, absolutely, and I think that's kind of like I think that's what makes what we do very effective, is
Um,
that it's insanely simple.
has your training in games, you think, distorted your ability to be fully effective with the EMOM company at all? Meaning, as you fine tune this thing and you fall into the weeds of nuances and getting every last second out of your times, that it's affected your ability to see what you're trying to do there clearly?
It's possible that it may slightly.
Mhm.
The thing is, I'm not an insanely detail-oriented person. Like, I don't look at a workout, I'm like, "How can I, like, squeeze out the very last second of it?" It's more of like, "How can I make this hurt? How can I make it, like, effective? What is the total volume that I'm trying to hit? What is the time domain I'm trying to hit?" I'm not we have a few different programs, and so, like, we have, like, a daily that is really just meant to be, like, an hour long in your garage. It's like a lift and a metcon, and with that, it's like, you know, I don't allow, like, the competitive side of CrossFit to, like, squeak into it too much.
Mm.
Even with movements, I don't like programming, like, complex movements in there very often. Um, but on the competitive side of, like, what we program, there's definitely more, like, nuanced things in there, like, in terms of just accessory work, but, like, even still, I keep things as simple as I can in terms of training.
Do you have someone to do that for you? Because as you get to the games, the example I'll give is, I don't remember what the workout is, but there was some workout with a dumbbell, and the rules were is you had to start with your back to the dumbbell, and you saw a lot of people start with the back to the dumbbell and turn around, and then as that evolved, we saw the boys and girls figure it out that like, hey, instead of turning around, take a step back.
Yeah.
Um, are those things are important as you get to the games because there are going to be seconds that matter, right?
Yes. Yes.
And do you have eyes on, if that's not your strong suit, is that some of the things that they do at Underdogs? They'll be like, "Hey, do this to get an extra second here," and
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever you, like, get into that, yeah, like, there's definitely a I don't consider myself a coach, though.
Mhm.
I program for the Imam company, and I have help with that now. Um, but whenever I look at, like, programming, I'm not thinking about those insanely small details. I let other
like, you
people,
don't care
like
if someone steps up on the corner of the box or on the side of the box, or it's like,
get
"Hey,
to
dude,
me, it's just
it's a
get the work done, like, I don't
yeah."
care. As I mean, if it's, like, to the standard and, like, you're getting the work done, I don't really care how you do it. Um, as long as it's, like, if it's designated a certain way, just do it that certain way and just get the work done. Like, I'm a big proponent of, like, just do it and don't worry so much about, like, all the nuances until it's apparent that the nuances really matter.
So you finish the quarterfinals and you get an invite to semifinals. And which ones are you going to? Where do you go? Do you go to the East or the West?
West, Carson.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be super cool.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. I can't wait to see you. That's so cool. And have you looked at this field of dudes that you're going with?
Yeah, there's a pretty damn good athletes there.
Yeah, it's a are you excited? Are you excited now that? Oh, and John Wood's gonna be there.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I'll just hold on to his shirt and skip paying the shipping.
So you see this, and we don't know. I don't know if we know this, but as far as I know, we don't know how many are going to go. But let's say it's 11.
Sure.
Have you looked at this list at all? Have you played any of those games? Like, hey, I'm going, I'm not going. It's going to
It
be
doesn't
between me.
matter.
Doesn't matter. Explain that to me. Why doesn't it matter?
Because my projection of like where I could place against these athletes is a waste of time. It's a waste of mental energy as well. It's like all I can do whenever I like step out onto the floor is run the absolute best race that I can run. Like yes, like a little bit of like knowing where your competitors at on the floor matters. But ultimately, like if you are optimizing that event for you as an individual, it really doesn't fucking matter what anyone else is doing in the other lanes next to you. It only matters like what you are doing. And so whenever I step out there, like I have my potential. Hopefully I hit that potential on that event, but like I cannot control what anyone else in any other lane is doing or how fast they can move or like what their lactate threshold is, what their max heart rate is. Like I can't control those things. And so to play these games in my mind of like, I think I can beat this individual here on this workout, and I think I can beat this individual here on this workout. I think they're going to beat me here. That's a waste of my time and energy. And it doesn't really matter because like all of that goes out the window at 3, 2, 1, go. And like you just run your race and the cards fall where they fall. And like you either did your job the best you could or you didn't. And the results will be what they will be, and whatever they end up being is what they're supposed to be. And so if I don't qualify, but I ran the best race, it's like, well, shit, like I wasn't good enough, and that's okay. Like on Wednesday, I go back to work. If I ran my race as best I could and I qualify, then like I hope that I can like accept that, like to enjoy that moment and like appreciate it and not lose out on that moment. But like there's a billion different instances that can happen. I've got the snatch ladder that tore my UCL in 2021. I've got to do that again. Like there's a million things that can happen that are out of my control, and to try to play into all those factors that are completely random and completely like just trying to hold on to wet sand is pointless.
Did you have what after you had your UCL torn? Did you have it repaired?
Nope.
Do you need a UCL?
So it had completely ripped off my elbow,
Oh,
and
your elbow. I thought it was something in the knee. Okay,
it
shows
was,
what
it
I
was
know.
just- it was the last snatch at 265 in Vegas in 2021. Um, which I think is why you interviewed me the first time, because I'd torn that uh, and was able to still qualify as the first event in West Coast.
Yep, that sounds familiar. That sounds
And
familiar.
yeah, by the grace of God, it like reattached naturally to the joint, which can happen. It's just rare, but there was enough like blood flow and circulation to the area that it kind of actually like reattached on its own.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky about that, so I didn't have to get
How do you know that it reattached?
I got an
Someone
MRI after
looked at
the
it?
CrossFit Games.
Did you hear that, Brandon? What I said? How do
Yeah,
you know that it reattached?
yeah. I got an MRI after the
Oh,
CrossFit Games in 21.
ulnar collateral ligament. Oh shit, this is a big one.
Yeah, I think it tore on the first snatch that I actually was able to stand up because I felt it pop and like crunch, but I didn't really know. And I remember like shaking out my elbow after the first snatch at 265, and then I went back for the second one, and like I don't know, I thought I'd hyperextended it. It like crunched and it sounded nasty in my head, and I was like, okay, like I just did something, and I walked off the floor after that attempt.
So basically, you have these 2 bones that are in, like, your tricep section of your arm, and then you have 2
Mhm.
bones that are in, like, the forearm section, and these are just, like, pieces of string that hold it together so we can do this? Is that so we can do this shit?
I
Is that
think
what all that stuff that's what I always wondered how that worked.
it all
Is it
holds it together. I'm not quite sure.
but kind of loosely so that we can rotate, we can do all
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah.
So there's 4 bones, and they're tied together by these things called ligaments, and, so that we can rotate. Wow. That's a big one. Yeah, that thing holds your basically, it looks like it's one of the ropes that holds your top of your arm to the bottom of your arm.
Yeah, it's, like, right in here. So, yeah, I'm not sure where the connection points are. I'm not sure, like, the all I know is that it hurt. I couldn't do much for a
Oh,
while,
it did hurt. It did hurt.
like crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I
And then it
couldn't really bend my arm for a minute.
and then it reattached. That's awesome that it reattached. That gets God, the human body's fucking amazing.
Yeah. I just I did a lot of, like, isolation movement with it, a lot of, like, forearm stuff, like, try to strengthen everything around it instead of, like, trying to get surgery. 'Cause I was going to compete at the CrossFit Games, like, "Alright, this is the last one." After I'm going home, like, I'll get UCL surgery, and I'll probably be done. So just, like, kinda F it. I'll just go compete. So I try to strengthen everything around it as best I could. So forearms, tricep, bicep. And whenever I went back for an MRI after the games, they're like, "Dude, like, you kind of actually reattached, and so keep doing what you're doing."
Hey, how cool is that your doctor he could have been a douche and said, "Hey, we're doing the surgery anyway."
He could have been. I don't think he wanted. Uh, I don't know that it's not that he didn't want to do surgery. Is that we were going to wait. And so after, like, because it was, like, 3 months basically from the time I tore it to the time, like, I went back after the CrossFit Games. When
Yeah.
you wait that long, you need to go see, like, you need to see what's been happening in there. Like, we didn't think that it reattached, but the MRI just showed that, like, it kind of, like, healed up a good bit and scarred over.
Tell me you don't have any fucking clue what you're talking about. We use physical optics to standardize those endpoints. Yeah, no shit. Lock knees are one of those for step ups. No, not lock knees. You're totally fucking missing the point. And here, Justin, you're missing the point too. The CrossFit Games season should set the standard. It should set the standard, but if the standard's wrong, and by wrong, it doesn't fit what CrossFit's supposed to be teaching, which is a moving center of mass, then fucking the CrossFit Games are wrong too. You're one of these people that fucking believes in democracy over liberty. You don't understand how it works. And their standards should be such that normal class settings can easily be replicated day to day. Yeah, okay, I agree with that too. Why the fuck would it matter? So you're telling me someone with one leg, I know I'm reading into a little bit of what both you guys are saying, but you're telling me someone with one leg can't do CrossFit because they can't lock out, but they can't fully extend both legs? I bet you eat a big dose of shut the fuck up. All right, back to the show. God damn.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, good morning. Hey, good morning. It's like, dude, why would you do that, especially in the competition setting? I could see maybe in a class, like you're like, hey, today we're gonna do the entire workout breathing through your nose, or today we're gonna do the workout, we want both feet on the box. But in the competition setting, it's just about getting this. If the center of mass can't get higher than where it is, there's no point in making sure that both legs are locked out. You've done the fucking work. Putting that second leg up there only complicates shit, and there's no extra physical capacity being shown.
I think that's fair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Chris Beesterfield, free page. Yeah. I'll call you later and explain it to you. No, don't. Today's a crazy day. Today, I'm so busy today. I'm overwhelmed already. I can't wait till when your day's so busy, I feel guilty for saying this, but you kind of are like, you just have to start.
Yes.
And you're just like, man, I kind of can't wait till today's over. I hate to say that because we only have limited days here on Earth, but it's like, man, I can't wait for today to keep moving forward.
I never have that thought, but
What?
I can't wait for today to be over. But maybe sometimes the task at hand, I can't wait to be done with that task.
Right. Or just start it.
Yeah.
Greg's giving this talk today at his house, and there's going to be like 100 people there. And I have to make sure the audio and video and everything's right, and people are happy. And I just have to be on my A game.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. And so I just want that to start. I just want to get there and like see everything. Okay, everything's good. People are happy. Greg's good. Sound check.
That
and I'll
makes
be
sense.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of there. Bernie Gannon, I always wish for more hours in the day. Yeah, me too. Going to sleep sucks. It's fun, but it sucks. Okay, so you're prepping to go to the West.
Yes, sir.
You have a place to stay,
Yes, sir.
and you have your tickets,
Yes, sir.
and you have your team in place who you're going with,
Yes, sir.
and your fitness is where it should be.
You never know the answer to that question until like it's like studying for a test, man. Like you never know what the test questions are going to be. And in this instance, it's like, yeah, we know what the events are for the most part. Like there may be some parts that we don't quite know yet, but there's all these other factors of like every other competitor is also part of like that test question. So it's like, yeah, I'm studying as hard as I can, but I don't know if I will have prepared well enough until I go take the test. So
Right. Yeah, and are you healthy?
I think so.
Yeah. The body feels good.
Body feels pretty good. It feels stronger and healthier than it has in quite a long time.
When Brent was on the show the other day, and he mentioned, we asked him, "How do you feel about the workouts coming out so early?" And he said he would have preferred to wait to the last minute just because of the anxiety that builds around knowing what they are. Is that?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
Uh, at first, it was very anxiety provoking, but it's like as I get to know each event a little bit better, it kind of eases some of that anxiety. And again, I go back to the mindset of like all I can do is prepare as best as I can with like the 24 hours every day from here and from now until then that I can. And I try to ease some of that anxiety through like, okay, like you only can prepare as best you can. And then once you've done that, like you've done everything you can, and then you go compete. And so everyone's got like the same number of days and the same anxieties and whatever and like questions in their mind. And so just to me, it's get to know the test as best you can and then go see if you can compete.
When you had decided you retired, how sure were you that you were done?
I think there's always a question in your head of like, should
Okay.
I go one more time?
Okay, so you never saw the fire go. You if you look back in there, you're like, "Fuck, there's still some embers burning. What the fuck? Go out
I mean,
already."
dude, I realize that like I realize now like I'll always need something to kind of push for, and maybe it
Mhm.
won't always be like competing in CrossFit or trying to compete at like semis or the games. But like there's always got to be something of like I want to go do that and see if I'm capable. So maybe it'll be like an Ironman. Like I've always wanted to do an Ironman, so maybe when I'm done competing, I'll go see if I can you know just get through all of that for like an Ironman. Like I think that'd be really cool to do. Or there's a lot of other things that you can go test yourself with without trying having to compete in CrossFit. But yeah, I mean, dude, I just like the setting a goal and seeing like if it's possible.
In years past, I would say that there was, um, and I'm open to being wrong. In years past, I would say there was much less external pressure than there is this year. Meaning that in years past, you were just one of the guys, just going, right? You were
Hmm.
just one of the guys for Brent Fikowski and Pat Vellner to beat up on.
Hmm.
This year seems like it's a little bit different. That there's
Um,
a more and more probably more external eyeballs on you than ever before. Do you feel that?
Maybe I think I blame
You're in
John Young,
denial?
but I
I
also
think it's fair to blame John Young. I think it's
yeah.
fair to blame John Young, yeah.
But I mean, also like my performance in quarterfinals was pretty good. So like you know, to finish second in our really third in our region. I don't count myself second because Patrick Vellner was ahead of me. Um, and then he got hit with that penalty. But to be like, top three in your region going into quarterfinals, like I guess it definitely like adds more external pressure. But the thing is, like external pressure is only external, like if you allow it to be. And it's only external because like you care what other people are saying about what you're capable of.
Right.
In reality, none of that shit matters. So like I try to remind myself that the only pressure I feel is internal. Like it really doesn't matter what anyone else predicts or thinks or cares about. It's like
It
in the
doesn't
end,
mean, though, it's still not there. I get so it's like
right?
this. So, like, let's say you're running a race and you're in a stadium with people cheering or not in a stadium with people cheering, it's still just you, right? But there's gonna be people there.
Sure.
And so, like, that could interfere with your ability or enhance it.
I try not I simply try not to think about it because that external pressure really doesn't
You
it
don't
doesn't
find value in it.
there is to me, there's no value in it. To put that much value in the thoughts of someone else that isn't me is like, I believe I'm capable of qualifying for the CrossFit Games. But like I said, like, to be capable and to do it are 2 different things.
Mm.
And that's the difference in, like, expectations. To have the expectation that I will qualify for the CrossFit Games is kind of silly because that means that, like, I'm in control of what everyone else also does.
Mm.
And so, like, to say that I'm capable does not mean that I expect it.
Are the semifinals more stressful than probably the games?
Yeah. To me, the games has always been bonus. And maybe that, like, I think that's also probably something that's probably a wrong mindset because, like, I'm blessed to be able to be there and a very small number of people get to be there. So, like, in that essence, it's like, okay, like, you did this, it's bonus. But, like, there are a lot of people who are going to see, like, that is their goal and, like, they want to go see how well they can do at the games. I think that's part of why, like, I've come back a few times is like, okay, like, maybe the approach going to the games has always been wrong. And maybe, like, you really wanna see, like, what you're actually capable of there instead of saying, like, "Okay, like, I made it," and basically saying, like, now the season is just kind of, you built up, you peaked, and now you're just riding this line all the way through the games. And I don't think that's fair to the other 39 athletes to have someone there who's like, "Yeah, I made it, like, I've never, like, gone there and, like, not competed as hard as I could, but I think maybe the mindset's a little bit more lax, than it should have been. And so I don't know if that's quite fair to everybody else.
Um, let me go to the other side of this. Going back to the last question about external pressure, it is though nice being recognized, right? So here you are, you're working, it's just for you, you're going to the games, you want to win the games, and you're just this guy going. But there are people around you who there's tons of external eyeballs on, like
Mhm.
shitloads and shitloads, right? So like you're going to be in the West, and there's Justin Medeiros. But is there something also nice about being recognized by your peer group and the CrossFit community is like, oh, look, this guy Brandon Luckett's back, and getting notoriety, recognition, attention, those things. Don't those things feel good?
If you let them.
Mm,
I think that's just pride, and I don't wanna be prideful in this season.
mm.
Like, I don't want to do things because of, like, what other people might say, because that was the same
Can't
fear
you
I
smell
had
the
about.
roses without picking them though? Can't you enjoy it without it being prideful? Can't you?
I'm afraid that it would play into my ego too much
Yeah, yeah, I
to
see that.
care.
I see that.
Because it's the same reason, like, it's the same thing that kept me so fearful of competing this year to begin with, of like what might people say if I'm not as good of an athlete as I was in the past.
Mm.
Like, that, dude, that's just your pride and your ego caring what other people say. And so it's like the same thing on the reverse of it, of when,
Yeah.
oh man, like, he's doing well this year, like, he could maybe punch another ticket. It's like, okay, that's just playing into my ego and my pride again. But on the reverse side of it, like, I want people to see me, or like, I don't care about being seen. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't need it. Um, and, like, yeah, like, it probably it does play into, like, those dopamine receptors at times, and, like, it makes me feel good, like, to kind of, see a name there sometimes. Like, I got to check myself. I'm like, dude, like, this isn't why you're doing it. Like, you're not doing it so that someone knows who you are. Like, you know, puts you in their top whatever. Like, none of that matters because that's just pride and ego, and I don't want that.
It reminds me of this realization I had. I don't remember when I had it, but that basically insecure and cockiness are the same thing. I'm gonna uh, I'm gonna be hyperbolic about it, but they're both just narcissism. Like
Yeah,
you can totally be feeling sorry for yourself and think you're a piece of shit, and that's still narcissism because you're just focusing on yourself.
right.
It's me. It's still at the big picture. It's all me, 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 me,
Yeah,
and it's
that
like
makes sense.
yeah, right. And so many people like they don't realize that man insecurity and like and pride and all that shit they have the same daddy.
Right.
It's you just doing shit like focusing on yourself.
Yeah. And so,
Um,
like, I've just tried not to have those ways of thinking, I guess.
okay, then let me push back on it a little more. Let me dig in here a little more. I agree with you, but can't you smell the roses without being attached to them, without wanting to cut them and bring them home? Can't you look up into the sky and see the beautiful bird and enjoy it without wanting to bring it home? Can't you enjoy the attention without it w- w- letting it affect Brandon Luckett?
I think that my family and friends and the people in my community,
Mhm.
I think they really enjoy it. I think they
Yeah.
like to see
Yeah.
that.
I mean, we're all enjoying as fans, we're enjoying it. It's fun to see just
Yeah.
like we're fucking loving it.
But for me, I love the things that I'm doing day to day, and, like, that's the part that, like, I'm trying to stop and smell the roses with.
Uh-huh.
And, I I don't like, I've never actually really seen any of the recognition until it's sent to me.
Hmm.
Um, and so, like I said, like, yes, it can play into, like, those feel good receptors, like, yeah, it's like, okay, it's cool to be seen, but then, like, I have to check myself, and so, like, I've already got the roses, man, like, without, like, the compliments and without the recognition, I've already got the roses, and so, like, I'm smelling them every day,
Yeah,
and
awesome.
I'm okay with that. Um, if no one knew my name in what I was doing this season, like, that's okay, that's fine with me, and yes, it's cool, but, like, I'm fearful of allowing, like, the pride and ego to get the better of me, and
Oh, I think I get it because then it could exacerbate the fear.
yeah,
Okay, I finally made that connection. Okay, I know you said that, but I just finally made the connection. Okay, yeah. And that okay, awesome. God, I wonder how many athletes okay, and so that's what we've seen. And we've seen athletes crumble under that. They touch the the they touch the accolades or the love from the outside world, and that fed the fear.
could you
Like,
imagine being afraid to lose recognition? You don't have control of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. Fuck, show's over. Solved. This show needs a good name. We solved it.
Sweet.
Well, dude, I'm stoked. I'm really excited to hang out with you in Carson. That's gonna be cool to
Yes,
hang
sir.
to hang with you and to film with you doing the behind the scenes. And who are you going with? Who will have your coaches pass?
Roy Vijay, the owner of my affiliate, a very good friend of mine, will have my coach's pass.
Is that Indian dude? Vijay?
He's, I think he's, like, French. It's
Okay.
Louisiana.
Okay.
It's
Oh, right.
Viger, pronounced Vijay. I think it's French.
All right. All right. Hey, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
You're as cool as I remember. You're one of the coolest people. I really enjoyed the first podcast with you. Thanks for coming on,
Thank
and
you.
I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. See you in a few weeks, man.
All right, Brandon Luckett from the EMOM Company. Going back to the games. Have a good day, dude.
Thanks, Savon.
Ciao. Shit. Fuck. That dude's cool as shit. Uh, uh, that's the kind of dude you want to marry your sister or date your mom. Um. Fuck. What a cool dude. I know, right, Eric? I'd like to dedicate this show to who was it? Dildo and Jake Chapman for giving me inspiration to let off some energy. Thank you. I wonder if he'll do something before the games, like to get in the mindset, like shave his head or something. Sevon is still tripped up. There's a lot of dates and numbers and timelines and shit today. So much of that. So many pieces. Okay, now check behind your couch. All right, I think I should go. Yeah. All right. Let me see if there's anything. Sevon, did you pick the wrong week to stop sniffing glue? You don't even know. You're closer than you think. You're closer than you think. Sevon, you didn't ask Brandon about his John Young shirt. Eric Weiss, you didn't watch the whole show. Oh, shit. I fucked you up. Fucked you up. Sorry, Eric. I like you. But even my friends got to get slapped around. All right. Saturday show is going to be crazy, guys. Kill Taylor. It'll be $1,500. Oh, what's this? God damn it. I don't have time for this shit. What is going on? Hey. What? What you need? Who this? Who this? What? Who this? What you
know
need?
who this is. You know who this
Who
is.
this? You know what movie that's from? Who this?
Who this?
You know what movie that's from?
No, I don't know. What is that from?
Boys in the Hood.
Oh shit! I haven't watched that in a minute.
Yep. Who this?
Hey,
what?
You have standards for your kids' behavior, right?
Yes, sir. Oh,
they get out. They get out of line.
I'm gonna fuck you up if you don't agree with me. But
go
on. Go ahead.
Do it.
All
do
right,
it. I want you to fuck me. But they get out of line. You got standards. Like, hey, this is how it has to be, right? You're not mad. You're not like mad, but like, you know, hey, this is how it's got to be, kiddos, right?
Yeah.
So, professional sport. Big picture, huge picture. They got to have standards, right?
I don't care if my wife jacks me off with her left hand or her right hand. I don't give a fuck. How's that for a metaphor? And so if she wants to give me a standee with her left hand, I'm not gonna be like, well, I was watching some porn yesterday, and it's all in the porn they do it in the right hand. No, I don't care. The point is to get a standee and to let the baby batter, let the poison out. And so if you stand up all the way. So what you're saying is that you wouldn't let one-legged guys what?
If you set that precedence in CrossFit, it's going to be worse than it already is. No one's going to be doing anything to any sort of standard at all. You're going to have people stepping up to the height that they want to step up to. They're going to freaking use one. I mean, you have to have this is what it's got to look like. Whether it's a one person, 1 foot, 1 leg person.
No, that's the word. That's the word that's wrong. If you're disagreeing with me, that's the word that you have wrong. It's not what it has to look like necessarily. It also had. Why would you make someone put their second foot up on the box and be in full extension if it doesn't increase work capacity across broad time and modal domains?
Because that's a big thing. Here it is. Susan's talked about this a lot. There's a difference between the CrossFit Games and CrossFit.
Yeah.
There's a vast difference.
Yeah, and right? I think for the games,
I think for maybe doing that, I'm not repping them. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think you have it backwards. I think in the gym, maybe you tell them, hey, you have to have both feet up there. But in the games, I think we're testing is work capacity.
But how does that look like if you don't have a standard?
You do. The standard's just one leg. The standard's just one leg. One leg, at least one leg has to be.
You change that specific standard. That's fine. That's cool, I guess. You know, one leg's got to be out there, but does that leg have to come to full extension? What is the other leg doing? You take a push press. Hey, are we actually going to allow people to still be looking up, or does their head have to go through? Do they have to lock out at the top? There's all like standards that, like, for a professional sport to be legit, you know.
I see your point.
You have to have standards.
I do see your point. I would need to see it executed my way, but I think my way is right still. But I do see your point. But I'm open to, like,
You're not wrong often. You're not wrong often. But
don't fuck with me. Don't try to placate this monstrosity of an ego I have.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, I know you got to get going. You got to get going. But you know, I had to bring that up. I had to do that now. Otherwise, I'd be thinking about it all day.
Haley, I'm gonna need another standy. Well, why is that? Well, you used your left hand, and I noticed you started on the upstroke instead of the downstroke. And everyone knows a standy has to be done with the right hand, with the downstroke as the first stroke.
There you go. You just set the standard. Boom. She's got to live up to it.
Fuck that. I just be thankful I got a standy. I just need full extension, full release.
Full release. Oh man, I love it. Good stuff. I'm excited for you today, man. That's gonna be awesome. Get to film. Is that you gonna release that to the channel, or how's that gonna
I'm filming for BSI, so I'll hand the footage over to Emily Kaplan, and Greg over there. But it's cool because Susan's going to be there, and Heidi's going to be there, and Richard Johnson's going to be there, the guy who wrote the book The Fat Switch. This guy that I've become friends with named Dan from RX Sugar is going to be there. I'm pretty excited, and it's a lot of these people I've never met before, so I'm pretty excited to go meet those people. Hopefully my kids get to come. I never know with these events if kids are welcome or not, so we'll feel that out.
Sure. No, that's awesome, dude. Very excited. Cool. All right. Hopefully they have some high standards there. Sure.
Love you, dude.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace.
Oh, Graciano Rubio will be there. That's cool. Awesome. All right. See, it only keeps getting better. I'm assuming at brokenscience.org is where the footage will be. Audrey's asking, where can I see the footage? No, it's not live. It could be live. All right. Kristen Kettler, get some close-ups of Emily. Hey, you know what's crazy? Which RX sugar bar tastes best? Well, you know what's crazy is I watched Andrew Hiller's show with his chick, Alexis, yesterday, and they were reviewing the RX bars, and she said it tastes like a shitty Twix bar. I think she said Twix or Kit Kat, but I'm not a fan of. I mean, I can't remember the last time I had one of those anyway, but I'm not really a fan of those. If I ever ate a candy bar, I always like something more like chewy, like I think RX bar is more like a Milky Way bar, and just a little less sweet. The texture is absolutely amazing. It's like caramel. You know when you get caramel on top of ice cream? It's like that. Those RX sugar bars are crazy. The regular chocolate one is the best. I like them all. My kids say stupid shit like, I don't like the mint one. I'm like, what? Like, oh, the mint, then mint. Yeah. Anyway, those I still don't. I'm still out. The jury's out on whether like we're supposed to be eating those. Probably we're not because they're packaged. But if you have to do something bad, I guess that's the thing to do. But man, those are they are good. Blueberry, there's a blueberry. I mean, they are really good. I love the texture. And the chocolate on the outside. And I'm not a fan of Twix or Kit Kat. So if she's a fan of those, I could see why maybe she's not. Whenever I bite into like, besides like almond roca, whenever I bite into like cookie chocolate, it always feels cheap to me. Oh, RX bars suck now. They're sold out. Yeah. One of the guys who's coming is one of the owners of RX Sugar, and he says they can't keep that shit in stock. I like creamy things. Creamy things are good. Avi's not a huge fan of ice cream. Doesn't make him feel well. That's crazy that you know that. Yeah, I got talked to the other day. I think I told you guys by one of the parents because kids were eating ice cream and he said ice cream's for pussies. He actually said ice cream's for pussies, but anyway, whatever. All right. I'll see you guys later. No. Avi is not lactose intolerant. No one in my family has any weaknesses. Okay, so Saturday, make sure Saturday. It's going to be the biggest Kill Taylor show. Tell your friends who want to compete. The workout will be released, I think, a half hour before. I try not to interfere in the workout, but Taylor told me what the workout is. And basically, we're arguing over some standards now. I don't want to say argue, but he's setting some standards for it. I'll just write back, okay. And I said, are you sure you want to do that? I'll just say, if you say so. I wrote back, okay, if you say so. That's some passive aggressive shit. Sevi's only Sevon's family's only weakness is height. Love you guys. Talk to you soon, Bo.